We often find ourselves staring at an invisible barrier, measuring our internal doubts against someone else's external strengths. It is the psychological trap of upward comparison, looking at those with natural advantages and assuming their success is a standard we can never meet. In an old jungle fable, this struggle is personified by a small monkey. He is a spectator to the lion's life, reflecting the same feelings of inadequacy we feel when we compare our starting line to someone else's finish line. The monkey operates under a specific assumption. He sees the lion's massive frame and dominance and concludes that these physical traits are the only path to safety and influence. When we believe that influence is purely a matter of biology or luck, we create a mental cage. We end up waiting for a change in our circumstances that we don't believe we can actually trigger ourselves. To understand why the monkey remains stuck, we have to look past the jungle trees and into his internal dialogue. He is living within a limiting belief. This filter changes how he perceives reality. When an opportunity appears, the belief identifies it as something only a lion could do, automatically discarding any potential for action and leaving only the path of standing still. Because the monkey is convinced that influence requires claws and a mane, he can't see the utility of his own agility. He overlooks the power of his own environment because it doesn't look like the power he's been taught to admire. Without a shift in perspective, this cycle becomes permanent. We stay on the edges of our own lives, waiting for permission to act that we've already denied ourselves. Driven by a need to understand his own place in the jungle, the monkey eventually approaches the lion. He asks for the source of the big cat's dominance, expecting a lesson on physical strength. The lion's answer isn't what the monkey expects. He explains that his position doesn't come from being the largest or the fastest. It comes from a refusal to doubt his own capacity to act. This is self-efficacy. While most wait for external signals, the lion uses an internal loop. He initiates action first, building the confidence others see as talent. Here, physical traits are secondary. The system runs on engaging problems, not starting tools. However, an idea like this remains a theory until it is squeezed. A new mindset only takes hold when it is forced to survive under pressure. That pressure arrives as a violent storm. In an instant, the jungle's usual rules are gone. The rain and wind create a level of chaos where the lion's size and the massive elephant's weight provide no protection at all. Fear takes over. Without the safety of the sun and the dry ground, even the strongest animals are left paralyzed, unable to use their traditional advantages against the rising water. The monkey's old habits scream at him to hide. He feels his smallness more than ever and is tempted to simply huddle in the dark and wait for the end. But he remembers the lion's words. He makes a conscious decision to look past his fear and instead look for a way to use the body he actually has. He realizes the high canopy is the only safe place. Using the agility he once dismissed, he climbs a sturdy tree and begins reaching down, pulling those who are trapped by the flood up into the branches. When the environment turns chaotic, physical advantages often vanish. The monkey's actions demonstrate that in a crisis, leadership isn't about who is the biggest, but who can master their own doubt long enough to find a path forward. As the storm passes and the water recedes, the jungle returns to quiet. But the way the animals look at one another has changed. The lion approaches the monkey and tells him that today, the smallest of them was the most courageous. He wasn't brave because of his muscles, but because he chose to move when everyone else was frozen. This matters because it proves bravery is a decision. It isn't a trait you are born with. It's a cognitive response to a challenge that anyone can choose to employ. The monkey didn't need to become a lion to save his peers. He only had to stop seeing his own traits as a limitation and start seeing them as the specific tools required for that moment. This dynamic isn't just about a jungle fable. It's the same pattern we face in our careers and our personal goals when we feel outmatched by our competition. Real weakness isn't lacking resources or a lower status. Those are just environmental conditions. The core of the story is this: the only true weakness is the decision to accept a small role. It is the act of surrendering your agency to the circumstances around you. You don't need to wait for more resources to find your own version of strength. You only need the courage to use the capabilities you have right now when the next storm arrives.